This video has taken forever for me to actually film and get to you guys because I've been dealing with pretty severe depression. And this isn't a video to try to get sympathy or anything from you guys. It's because I feel like a lot of us are going through this. A lot of you guys might be going through the same thing. And I want to offer up some ways of coping with depression. Okay, we just came through New Year's, January 1st, 2022. And a lot of us will kind of look at the past year and go, well, what did we accomplish? You know, are we where we want to be? And all of this stuff. And, you know, most of us, we haven't been able to accomplish stuff. We've all been in a level of survival mode, trying to get through this. The economy is crazy. Politics are crazy. Medical stuff is crazy. We've got a lot going on. And then if you're psychic, if you're a medium, you're probably feeling a lot more than that because you're picking up on everybody else's feelings. You're picking up on the collective consciousness. You're picking up on what might be coming. You're getting premonitions. You might be feeling energies of what's happening. You might be noticing other kinds of spirits doing things. I've got this sense of foreboding right now. It feels like something's coming up. It doesn't feel good. And I think a lot of people are feeling that. And so you might be getting a lot of input on top of the regular muggle input. So that's kind of why I want to give you these ways of coping with depression. So what is depression? Depression is an illness that affects how you think and how you feel. And that ends up affecting how you function and how you operate in the world. And when we're talking about depression, we're not just talking about sadness and feeling like, oh, that's a bummer, that's weak. It's really feeling pretty empty, pretty apathetic, pretty hopeless. That's what we're talking about. And then there's clinical depression that lasts throughout someone's life or long periods of time. And then there's the kind of depression that I think I'm in that is more triggered by life events, circumstances, realizations, those kind of things. First, I should start off saying I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical person. I do not have training in this. And it is really important for you to see a doctor or get help if you are having any sort of serious depression, because it could be something that is not just an emotional kind of issue. It could be a physical illness or something that requires medical treatment. So how do you know if you're depressed? Well, there's feeling sad, feeling upset. If you're depressed, you might sleep too much or not enough. You might have insomnia, or you might be sleeping like as often as you can. You're letting yourself go, not taking care of yourself. I mean, because why bother, right? You might have loss of interest in things that you enjoy doing, things that make you happy. You might just not have the energy or capacity to do these things. It might be hard to do things that are really pretty simple or easy. You might feel helpless. You might feel hopeless, worthless. Yeah, it's not good. Depression sucks. You might feel like crying or be crying like all the time. I notice, like, I go to the grocery store and I feel this kind of a lump in my throat and something going on behind in my face that feels like I'm just at the verge of crying. That's depression. Something else that might happen is you might drop off the radar. You might just kind of cease to connect with people you love or even social media. You just don't communicate with people anymore. You don't make the phone calls. Because, I mean, I think the way I feel is like when I'm not feeling good, when I'm feeling down, like I have nothing to offer. I'm just a bummer. And if you're feeling suicidal, please get help. And that means like suicidal thoughts, all that stuff. Get help. That's too much. That's a sign that you need some assistance. I just read today somebody saying suicide is a permanent fix for a temporary problem. So it is temporary. You will get through this. You know, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. If you're having like serious depression, make sure you're getting help. And that brings me to, how do you cope with depression? Get help, get support. These can be people you love, people that you trust. This can be a therapist. And there's no stigma with seeing a therapist anymore. Pretty much if you're alive now, you've been through some stuff, you've been through some trauma. You're pretty strong for being here still. So like, what's the big deal? Go talk to somebody who's a pro, or talk to friends and family who you can trust. And you can either spend time with them in person, or, you know, get them on Zoom, or even, you know, make a phone call. Just talk to somebody. I think one of the things that helps with being depressed is just self-awareness that you are depressed. And one thing that I was thinking about with my depression is that it feels a lot like grief. And I know not a lot of people talk about depression as grief, or grief and depression, but I think you have to go through a lot of the same stages to get through it. The first stages are shock and denial, and it's kind of like, how did I get here? What's going on? And then the next stages are anger, bargaining, and guilt. You're just kind of upset, like, how did this even happen? And then the final stages are acceptance and regaining hope. And this is kind of where we need to go. This is where we need to get to with our depression, because whatever the situation is, whatever we're feeling, we kind of need to just get through it. There's no easy fix for it. Another thing about coping with depression, do not compare yourself to others. You are totally unique in your context. The things that got you here, how you lived in the past, what's going on in your life right now, that's your life, that's your context. So comparing yourself to somebody who has it much worse, you know, oh man, their life is a train wreck, and like, oh, terrible, terrible stuff is happening to them. So I shouldn't feel bad about my stuff because my stuff isn't as big of a deal. It is, in your context with who you are and the situations you're in, it is a big deal. So like, don't compare yourself to others with depression. It's not going to help. Sometimes when you're feeling depressed, you just need to own it, live it, love it, enjoy it. Be that, you know, super deep down depressed person that you're feeling right now, and just, yeah, it sucks. I'm going to lay in my bed facing my pillow and just cry or whatever. You know, sometimes that's what you got to do. You're trying to release this energy. You're trying to change. You're trying to get through it. Be nice to yourself. Give yourself a break. Cut yourself some slack. Take days off or take time off, however you're able, whatever that means to you. I'm not saying, oh, quit your job or whatever. I'm just saying, when you have free time, when you can do that, don't feel obligated to do something that you don't feel that you can do. You know, just give yourself a break. Take care of yourself. You're in survival mode. Another thing you can do is release or purge. And this can be through physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual kinds of things. So with physical activity, you can work out, you can run, you can do physical things, dance. These are things that release endorphins, and it helps you feel better. It's also changing the energy in your system. So that's good. For emotional things, watch movies that make you cry, read sad books, read things that make you happy and laugh. Mental things, create things, write lyrics, write poetry, write stories, make art. And with spiritual things, you can pray, you can meditate, you can ground, you can do religious ritual. Think of these, is it the Serenity Prayer? These are all things you can do, and that will help your energy. And I keep talking about changing. That's another thing you can do. Change yourself, change your situation, change your scenario, change your scenery, change your activity. And these don't have to be big things. It can be like, change where you're sitting, sit on the other couch. I have no hair, but I have to buzz it. So like, I'll buzz my head and that makes me feel better. Take a shower, go for a walk. These are little tiny changes that can affect how you're feeling. Instead of watching TV, do something else. And then also with this change, you can set small goals. And depending on where you're at with where you're feeling, these can be things like take out the trash. That can be your goal for the day. I'm going to take out the trash. And I mean, we're talking serious depression. If you are having trouble getting out of bed or whatever, doing the dishes might be the thing. Going for a walk might be the thing. And another thing you can do to help with that is make a little schedule for yourself. At 8 o'clock, I'm going to go for a walk. At 9 o'clock, I'm going to have my coffee and some cereal. At 11 o'clock, I'm going to log on and work on email stuff. I mean, I don't know what you're doing, but make a schedule. And it can be gonna watch the hockey game at 7. Whatever you need to do to get yourself through this is really important. Try something new. Learn something. And I mean, you're on YouTube. Go find a video on how to do something. You know, how to make a paper airplane. Go learn how to say hello and thank you in some languages. That's always good. Be of service to others. Helping people, helping animals. It feels good. It's a good energy kind of exchange. And you're making somebody else feel good too. So that can't possibly make you more depressed. Try to make your body feel better by watching what you eat and drink. So try to eat healthy. Try to drink stuff that's good for you. Avoid the caffeine, the alcohol, any drugs. There's something else on my list I can't remember. Sugar, processed foods. And if you don't realize how bad these things make you feel, go get some fast food sometime and pay attention to how you're feeling before, during, and then like a half hour or an hour after you eat it. You're going to be a little bit more sluggish. I haven't been following that one. I've been eating junk food like crazy. What are some psychic ways of coping or dealing with depression? We've got some extra tools in our arsenal. You can tune in, open up, and talk to your guides. Ask them for help. Can you please help me feel better? I'm super depressed. They'll explain stuff to you. You can ask them specific questions and then listen for that voice in your head or impressions or things that feel like they're memories. You know, if something just pops in there, that's something that might help you. Like when I was writing notes for this, I was asking, and they told me to look into Buddhism ideas. And I was thinking, well, that makes sense because one of their concepts is that life is suffering. Well, that's depression right there. So how do they deal with it? Well, there's the story of Siddhartha, and he was upset because he discovered that there was pain in the world and stuff, and he had lived a sheltered life in his kingdom. So he went out into the world and tried to figure out what was going on. I'm a big fan of writing things down, and so automatic writing, that's another way to communicate with your guides, and that's basically getting out a sheet of paper and a pen or pencil, and with your dominant hand or your other hand, you ask questions and just see what it writes. Like, you try not to do a whole bunch of input into your hand and You just let it write. It could be stream of consciousness where you're just writing whatever's coming to your mind or whatever's flowing out from your hand or the pencil or pen. You could also try writing down everything you're feeling. Just write it. Basically purge it all onto a piece of paper, and then you're going to find a safe place to burn this, like a barbecue grill or a fireplace or whatever, and you just light that on fire and let it take some of those feelings, or hopefully all of that stuff that you don't like, let it take it away. Let it help purge it from you. I also suggest keeping a journal and writing down your dreams, writing down your feelings, writing down this stuff, and that will help you get it out of your system. And then also, with how my journal works, I feel like the other side kind of pays attention to it a little bit more. They're involved when I'm either doing the writing or they're reading it on another timeline, or I don't know what's happening, but I feel like when I'm putting information in there, I'm getting a little bit of help or recognition with it. And so maybe they will assist you more when you're working that way. I also suggest, if you're able, meditate or pray. Meditation is basically listening or working that way. And then prayer is basically talking to. So talking to God or your higher self or the universe. Ask for what you would like. Ask for help. Ask if there's anything you can do to help your situation or make you feel better or make you feel like you're on the right path. Make you feel like you have what you need. These are things you can ask about through prayer. Meditation is thought of as listening. I do a lot of energetic work and visualization and more active stuff while meditating, but it could just be enough to sit there and breathe in and breathe out and try to keep your mind clear, or really try not to let any thoughts or ideas stick in your mind. Just let them go. Let it go like it's a river flowing by. Just sit there and be quiet for a while. That can help. That can do wonders. And then the last thing I'll suggest is to get out to nature. Nature is super healing. There's a lot of energy in nature. There's a lot of grounding opportunities with nature. And then there's also this positive energy that can come from nature. And there are a lot of nature spirits around, a lot of things in nature that can help you out. So, you've never come back from nature feeling worse than when you went in. At least that's for me. So anyway, that's it. Please feel better. If you're feeling really bad, if you're having suicidal thoughts or anything like that, make sure you get help. There are lots of strangers out there who really do care about you, even if we don't know you. So, yeah, get help. And to everybody else who's just trying to get through this, hang in there. You'll get through it. And then we can be like, wow, what was that, right? All right, well, thanks for watching.